Hey yo, what the deal, my people? You know who it is. It's the Don Tony Teflon Cha, and I'm back at you with another one, and this one is about Azor Ahai. Now, I know we all look for Azor Ahai in these books to come and save the day from the long night. And I know everybody has their opinion on who they think he or she is, and we can go through those right now if we really wanted to, but they have been searched out. But I was thinking that since this is a prophecy, and this A Song of Ice and Fire book series, we see that there are always two sides to a story. And this time we are only given the Westerosi side. And we know that there is no good or no evil in this world, just people with agendas who make decisions who you might be constituted to believe that are good or evil. Now, shouldn't, thinking like that, the White Walkers have their own prophecy? Shouldn't they have their own hero who brings in the long night? That would be a great world for them. So we see the importance of the Red Priests and all these people who support the faith, but we don't really see people who support the White Walkers' cause. And now I believe that there is an Azor Ahai for the White Walkers, and I also believe that this prophecy has been fulfilled somewhat for the fact that this person has been born, not reborn yet. And I believe that this person is Craster's child with Gilly, Maester. Now, to prove my point, we must look at Craster, his lifestyles, and see why I would believe this. And since I am here, stuck in New York, and I do not like to fly, only when I really have to, and I cannot gather the information myself for this video, I, fortunately, have a friend who I know has personally traveled beyond the wall and back several times, and he has agreed to make this trek for you and for me for Teflon TV, and this person is none other than the Rogue Ranger himself, Don Willie.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Don Willie reporting from north of the wall for Teflon TV, and today I'm here to talk about everyone's least favorite incestuous wildling, Craster. Craster is a wildling chieftain and the lord of Craster's Keep. While the names of his parents are unknown, we do know that his father was a man of the Night's Watch and his mother was a wildling from Whitetree. He claims to be a godly man, but what gods does he serve? First introduced in the Clash of Kings, he's one of the few wildlings that is actually friendly with the Night's Watch and allows the Watch to stay at his place while they're on their way to find Benjen Stark. Aside from giving info about Mance Rayder, during this time, we learn about some of Craster's strange and downright disgusting personal practices. One of the first bits of info we get about him is that Craster has 19 wives. And while that may not seem too strange, the fact that some of these wives are his daughters is the part that makes this beyond disgusting. The second thing is that any sons he has are abandoned in the woods. We later learn that Craster offers his sons to the White Walkers in exchange for protection. The most shocking part of this revelation is that some of the Night's Watch are aware of this practice. Later, in A Storm of Swords, Craster, along with J.R. Mormont and several other members of the Night's Watch, are killed during the mutiny. While no exact number can be found, it's said that Craster had 99 sons, all of which were given to the White Walkers, except his last, who escaped with Sam and Gilly to the wall. At the present time, we still don't know what kind of deal he reached with the White Walkers, or what the possible ramifications of Craster giving his sons to them are. In the TV show Game of Thrones, a White Walker is seen taking one of Craster's last sons to the lands of Always Winter, where he's transformed by the leader of the White Walkers. You guys let me know in the comments what you think about Craster. Is he the dirtiest old man around, or is he someone just doing what he had to do to survive? Anyway, I'm Don Willie reporting to you from north of the wall for Teflon TV. That's been my time. I'm out.
Thank you, Don Willie, for that, and please subscribe to Don Willie's channel. Now, before we get back to the father of the White Walkers, and we will in a second, first let me talk about Gilly. So, not only is she the 19th wife, she also gives birth to the 99th male child. Also, her name is Gilly.
Ah, for the Gilly flower.
That's right, Maester Aemon. Gilly after the Gilly flower. And it just so happens that one type of Gilly flower is known as the herb. And that flower is also known as the Nighted Scent Gilly flower. But another word for that flower is Mother of Evening. So, the Mother of Evening gives birth to a child that they deem monster. Now, the prophecy says for Azor Ahai that Azor Ahai will be reborn under a bleeding star amidst salt and smoke. And we know from reading these books that only death can pay for life. So, let's take a look and see what happens when Gilly gives birth to monster. First, the bleeding star.
They burned the ranger's corpse at sunset in the fire that Gren had been feeding earlier that day.
And also when she gives birth to monster, let's look at the second part, salt and smoke.
Does he know I spoke to Gilly the last time we were here? He wondered. Did she tell him I said we'd take her? Did he beat it out of her? I'm cold, said Bannon. Please. I'm cold. For all the heat and smoke in Craster's hall, Sam felt cold himself. I'm tired. So tired. He needed sleep. But whenever he closed his eyes, he dreamed of blowing snow and dead men shambling toward him with black hands and bright blue eyes. Up in the loft, Gilly let out a shuddering sob that echoed down the long, low, windowless hall.
So we have the two things we need right there for Azor Ahai to be reborn. We have the salt and smoke, and we have the bleeding. So we know that Craster isn't killing his kids, even though some of the Night's Watchmen think he is. And we know that when he gives his sons to the White Walkers, that they change the babies to White Walkers. And I think that would be the part of what would have happened, and that would have been him being reborn.
Come for the baby.
Stay back! You stay back!
No! You can't have it! No!
But that doesn't happen because Sam and Skilly escape with the baby. Now the last reason why I think this kid is definitely the White Walker's Azor Ahai is blood. And there's no doubt, even when you see this child being breastfed, you see that he is fighting the other babies. He is already basically a White Walker without being changed. He's evil and he's trying to do bad things. So we see characters like Val, who named the child Monster, says it straight up, he's a monster, and he's not changed yet. So there's something going on within his bloodline to make him predisposed to become a White Walker. Because I just don't believe that everybody and anyone could just have their kid turn to White Walker. So this must mean something in his blood. And the reason why I have to go with Craster's father more than Craster's mother is that his mother is just a wildling from the White Tree. So it has to be blood from his father's side. Now, we don't know much about his father. All we know is that he was a man of the Night's Watch, a ranger from the Night's Watch, who when he had his way, went back to the wall. His mom tried to go back there and tell him about the baby, and they chased him off. So that tells me that they're going to chase his mother off. This must be a pretty important person at the time when they go there, when the mom goes there. It's just not going to be some random person, you know what I mean? So, without knowing Craster's age, it's pretty hard to tell who his father is. But I think it has to be somebody with King's blood. Now, we see the importance of King's blood in and out of this story all the time. So it only makes sense to me that if fire is using King's blood, that the side of ice would use King's blood too. So I gotta gamble here because we don't know exactly how old Craster is. But I'm gonna say that he looks a little bit younger than Commander Mormont, and he moves around a little bit better than Commander Mormont. Now, Commander Mormont was 69 when he died. So let's try to make it close so it's not crazy. Let's say Craster is 65, 64, around that age, alright? Now, if we use Craster at that age, and that is a viable age for him, I think it is, that would mean he was born around 235 AC. Now, at 235 AC, I do not know of any Stark who was at the wall at that time. Or the fact, if there was a Stark at the wall, I don't know of any Stark who was a Ranger at the wall at that time. But I do know 2 Targaryens who were at the wall at this time. And those 2 Targaryens were Maester Aemon and Bloodraven. Now, it seems funny to me that Bloodraven takes particular interest in avenging the death of Craster by sending his goon Cold Hands to kill these mutineers.
The ranger killed a pig. Cold Hands stood beside the door, a raven on his arm, both staring at the fire. Reflections from the flames glittered off 4 black eyes. He does not eat, Bran remembered, and he fears the flames. You said no fire, he reminded the ranger. The walls around us hide the light, and dawn is close. We will be on our way soon. What happened to the men, the foes behind us? They will not trouble you. Who were they? Wildlings? Mira turned the meat to cook the other side. Hodor was chewing and swallowing, muttering happily under his breath. Only Jojen seemed aware of what was happening as Cold Hands turned his head to stare at Bran. They were foes. Men of the Night's Watch. You killed them. You and the ravens. Their faces were all torn, and their eyes were gone. Cold Hands did not deny it. They were your brothers. I saw. The wolves had ripped their clothes up, but I could still tell. Their clothes were black, like your hands. Cold Hands said nothing. Who are you? Why are your hands black? The ranger studied his hands, as if he had never noticed them before. Once the heart has ceased to beat, a man's blood runs down into his extremities, where it thickens and congeals. His voice rattled in his throat, as thin and gaunt as he was. His hands and feet swell up and turn as black as pudding. The rest of him becomes as white as milk.
So not only did Cold Hand kill these men, we see here that the Raven got involved in the action. And the Ravens were pecking and clawing and taking the eyes out of these Night's Watchmen. Why? I mean, that seems personal to me. Wouldn't he be happy, Bloodraven, if he's fighting for the side of good, the side for the children of the forest? This is the man who is making White Walkers. Shouldn't you be happy that this man has been taken out? Shouldn't you be happy that he is no longer making babies for the White Walkers? But instead, he gets involved himself, and he goes in there and has the crows peck out these people's eyes. Now, let's see if is it possible that Bloodraven is the father of Craster and grandfather of the White Walkers. Now, let's crunch the numbers from the birth and death. And I'm going to use Maester Aemon because he's one of the only people that has the full timeline that you can see that he lived 102 years to know exactly where they were at. And let's focus on the ages of Bloodraven and Aemon as they ascend to the wall and what's going on at that time. So, at 175 AC, Bloodraven is born. At 198 AC, Aemon is born, making Bloodraven 23 years older than him. At 208 AC, Aemon is sent to the Citadel at age 10. 217 AC, Aemon forges his chain at the age of 19, and Bloodraven is now 42. At 233 AC, Aemon and Bloodraven get sent to the war. Aemon is now 35, and Bloodraven is 58. At 239 AC, Bloodraven becomes Lord Commander at the age 64. Aemon is 41. At 252 AC, Bloodraven leaves and is never to be seen again. This is at the age of 77. Aemon is 54. Now, at 300 AC, Aemon dies at 102. Bloodraven is 125 now, living in the tree as the Three-Eyed Crow. So, if Craster would have been born at 235 AC, that's 4 years before Bloodraven becomes Lord Commander. And if Bloodraven was going to be cool with any wildlings at any time, you would think it would be the wildlings from White Tree, because they have the most hugest heart tree in the world. And if you think if he's going to get a vision from the former Grease Seer, and that Grease Seer is going to ask him to come to where he was at 77 years old, he's going to need some help to get there. So if any type group of wildlings had any connections with any children of the forest, or anything of green sight, it would have to be the wildlings of White Tree. So I think it would be obvious for him to make that stop there, and them to help him get up to where he had to be. And I know, before you say it, Craster looks nothing like a Targaryen. But you must remember, his mother is a wildling from the north, and Brendan River's mother is a Blackwood from the north. And if you look at Melissa Blackwood's features and Gilly's features, they're pretty much similar, almost identical. And again, about Gilly, last but not least, the mother of the evening, which sounds like the Night's King to me. The color of the flower she is named after just happens to be purple. Let me thank my man Don Willie and my man Don the Kraken Whip for agreeing to help me out with this video. Please subscribe to their channels. And if you like the way I do this, you know what you gotta do. Please thumbs up it. Please spread this across the realm, and please subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace! And stay sexy.